anyway. But I do want to get us back on track now. The blue-white game finally has been announced.
Nope. Blue-white weekend has been announced.
Blue-white weekend has been announced. Thank you. So what do we know, Fitz? I'm going to just throw it to you so you can save me from myself for what I don't know and do, because I just know like it was on the site, and you can read about it at bluewhiteillustrated.com. What do we know about blue-white weekend?
Blue-white weekend is April 25th, 2026, parentheses, more details to follow. And it's sponsored by Sheets. No, this is where you're at right now. So Penn State has its spring practice schedule. You can read that, Blue-white. Ryan wrote that up this morning. They're going to finish late. April 25th is the last practice. There's a bit of, I don't know if you heard about this, construction going on at the Beaver Stadium, which is a bit of hey, we don't necessarily want you guys there for a ton of this because there's construction and it's dangerous and all this kind of stuff. We got to make special concessions and all that. So I think they're working around this right now. Nate, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but there's a lot to be done here. It's not, this was never a sense of, hey, there's definitely going to be a blue-white game as we know it. And I think that's why they announced what they did, is that it's blue-white weekend. Hey, bring your family, bring your dollars, bring everything you can to, have that pump in the local economy on that weekend. And it's our last practice. We're going to figure out the steps along the way. So I think that's kind of where they're at with that. And Nate's about to stomp over that.
No.
Yeah, I don't think it's a finished product. Somebody asked if it was televised. Legitimately, they put out a tweet with a graphic and said, "Here's the day. We'll tell you the rest later." That's what I got.
I think that, and this is just vibes. Don't take it for, it's not gospel. I'm just talking here based on kind of what I've picked up, which is I think the perception was that Matt Campbell doesn't really like spring games. I think when he first got to Penn State,
that in the past, yeah. Now,
but I don't,
different circumstances there, but yeah.
And I don't think that's what this is. Like, I actually think it's the inverse, where when he said that he didn't want Rocco Beck's first experience throwing a pass in Beaver Stadium in front of fans to be the first game, I think he meant that. And so I like in the stadium, lots of people, right? Like TV, that stuff. I don't know about that, but just the idea of, like, even from the construction angle of, hey, this is this like monumental operation to shut down construction and then reopen it up. That kind of got poo-pooed. Like, I think they're going to do it. It's worth doing for Penn State. They feel like it's worth doing it. And so they're going to do it. Right. So all the, like, I'm sure there will be logistical accommodations, right? Yeah, right. Like, you're not going to have necessarily all the gates open, right? Like that all the normal access points to get into the stadium as a normal game day Saturday. I'm not sure that will be the case. Maybe it will. I guess I'm just like, they are definitely doing work on the East concourse. And so that is in addition to all the stuff that's happening on the West side. So, right, like at this point, now you're talking about two bigger, right? So the end zone sides are like, it's not 25%, 25%, 25%, 25%. You're talking about these wide swaths of the stadium that are under active construction.
There's just going to be more on your plate if you're going to plan it, basically. And that's why I think that we haven't heard anything yet. And to make sure they can do it and that they want to do it. There's no spring portal window this year. Like last year, this was pushed to I believe last weekend in April once again, because there was a spring portal window that closed a day or two, like the day before. It was an informed decision at that point. This year, I think it's just this works with the practice schedule. They're starting practice a little bit later than they usually do. And Easter plays into it as well, because Easter is in April this year. So you're working around a couple of different landmarks, some of them physical, the stadium, some of them on the calendar with Easter and with the portal, because they got to get out on the road then eventually, because the spring evaluation period will run from mid-April to the end of May. So that'll be something that they take into account, because they've got a lot of work to do in terms of getting out and getting their names out with top 27 and 28 targets after the Blue White game. So the middle of March after spring break, they'll fire it up, and there's a lot of work to do in the next 2 months.
Can I follow up on that? Because it seems like the last time we had this conversation in January of there being in the open window after the transfer portal, stuff like that, or with junior days, like they took the time necessary and correctly to build the team through the portal, and didn't have junior days to try and get as many of those guys in, do the handshake, hey, how are you, nice to meet you. And here in the spring, also, by the sounds of it, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it sounds like that's also going to be a conflict here, where if you're a program maybe in the South or somewhere else where you can put it at the beginning of the month, your spring practice is over in the middle of April or wherever, you now have more of that time to do more recruiting. Is that a worried concern, or is that just interesting nugget note kind of thing?
I think it's just a different calendar than the competitors, because you're looking at how Penn State and everyone else will have to recruit. So you're going to start hosting recruits for practice in March, right? You're going to start having recruits for practice and bring them up for weekends and do all the regular things that everybody does. And then you're going to finish spring practice at the end of May, and then you're going to go out on the road. Evaluation period is 6 weeks long, but you can only recruit for 4 weeks of that. So the schools that end sooner, they get the same amount of time. They might get to the player a little bit earlier than Penn State will eventually get there, but they do get the same amount of time. So it's not an unfair advantage by any stretch of the imagination. It goes April 15th through May 23rd, and you get a certain amount of days that you can actually go out onto the road there. So it's not a hindrance to do what they're doing. It's just a matter of, it just changes the timeline. Your key right now, if you're Penn State, is to get those guys in for visits, for practices, for spring weekends, as it begins to get nicer, and you can get these guys around. If you want to showcase your program as a football all the way program, you want to get these guys in for practice to see those football coaches coach football, if that makes sense. So I think that is really the next step right now. And you're starting to see guys set up spring visits, getting here in late March and early April. And, again, Penn State spring break, is I guess a little bit earlier than some schools, but it is a workaround there as well, where you have to start spring practice after spring break. It makes no sense to start spring practice and then have your players go to, Punta Cana or wherever, and come back and try to practice football again. That seems like a recipe for disaster. So you just get that all out of the way, and then you start when you get back.
Did you guys go anywhere for spring break in college? Did you actually go on trips, Nate?
What, the Reading?
Yeah, I didn't go anywhere either. I forget that two things: one, people do that, and two, now these football players have money, so they can go to Cabo if they want to. That is a new layer of it. That's not a problem. I'm just saying, I had never considered that. Everyone gets wrapped up in their own experiences. I went on, the only way that I could get on a spring break trip was if I went on a mission trip. So I went to Atlanta and New Orleans and had the exact opposite experience of what you would think if you go to Atlanta and New Orleans for spring break. It was fun, but wasn't like spring break. Spring break.
It's going to be, this is just an aside, but graduation is the 8th of May for Penn State. So they're wrapping out 25th weekend, May 1st weekend. And then, right, so Penn State will be a buzz of activity in the last couple of weeks down the home stretch there for all the outgoing seniors and students enjoying their time at Penn State.